you have a body for a reason. You have a physical vessel that can hold frequencies, and those frequencies have a ripple effect through the rest of humanity. And so you can do something, and what you are doing on a daily basis is much more important than you realize. Greetings, hello to all my beautiful starseed friends and soul family, and all of you who are here to dive into this topic of Galactic Ascension codes today. You will be hearing a variety of light languages. You will be coming to a greater understanding of why all of these light languages are opening up for us. And they're coming in more than spoken. They're coming through hands, they're coming through symbols. But yeah, why are they so important? This is what we're going to talk about today. And it's a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. So let's dive right in. First of all, wow, we are in November. It's a very interesting time. It's not something that I'm oblivious to, the fact of when this podcast is coming out. And I'm talking about something not so earthly right now, but as above, so below. Anything we can do to expand the frequencies on the planet in conscious and unconscious ways are going to have an effect on the collective consciousness, right? So we always wonder, and I think sometimes we feel helpless, like, what can I do? What can I do? First of all, you have a body for a reason. You have a physical vessel that can hold frequencies, and those frequencies have a ripple effect through the rest of humanity. And so you can do something, and what you are doing on a daily basis is much more important than you realize. So that is not limited to light language, but that's our topic today. And I'm going to go ahead and share with you some incredible information that came through in the month of September. I had the opportunity of opening up my regular light language group mentorship cohort, as well as a new offering that I decided to call Light Language Quantum Leap. I knew that enough people were coming forward who had taken their light language to a certain level. They were speaking it on a regular basis, but beyond that, they weren't quite sure what to do. So that's why I created the two containers, one for beginners and one for more of the intermediate and advanced. Well, little did I know that when I offered those, I would be learning so much about light language that I hadn't already known. I mean, not that I didn't think I knew everything. I definitely was not under the impression I knew everything there was to know about light language, but I thought I knew quite a bit. No. Half the time, I think I do these containers just for my own personal benefit to understand better. It's like a research project for me, but I know it's a two-way benefit. And so as I was in these containers in September, so much opened up for me around the importance of the frequencies that were coming through. And I've spoken about this in a few different podcasts, but I just want to recap some of those highlights for you in this one, just to remind you. One of them, and one of the most important ones, is using spoken light language to self-calibrate. We just talked about this in our community live energy update the other day. And if you're not aware, I do have a beautiful community. We do weekly live gatherings. We have Q&A in there. It's really super interactive. So if you are looking for a space like that, what are you waiting for? Come join us in the Starseed community. Light language is one of the topics we cover there. But in our monthly live energy update for November, we had a presentation by one of our support team members. Her name is Trinity, and she is really tuned into quantum level shifting. And she affirmed what I already knew and what many of us are understanding, that we are shifting from looking for healing outside ourselves and becoming empowered enough to and resourced enough within ourselves to do any adjustments, any attunements that we need through our own tools, through our own personal frequencies. Light language is one of the biggest ways we can do that. And what does that look like? Well, it can be as simple as sitting down and connecting with a part of your body that feels a little out of alignment. Could be a stiff neck. It could be a sore knee. It could be, issues with your stomach, whatever it is. And supporting the realignment of those parts of the body by speaking light language to them. Yeah, speaking light language to them. So another one that came forward recently was using light language to shift your Akashic records. And really the way that I see it is releasing contracts or completing contracts or initiating new ones. And because some of these contracts are more multidimensional in nature, we can utilize light languages, light codes to take ourselves through the process of shifting the contracts. During Samhain, just a few days ago, I personally spent a good hour calling in any contracts that I had, ancestral contracts, I should say, and inviting ancestors to come join me in this, and bringing to completion ones related to like scarcity, lack, any programming that would essentially cause me to subconsciously resist expansion into prosperity, whatever that looks like, whether it's financial, whether it has to do with abundance of time or love or whatever it is. And I've never done that before in just that way for myself personally. But there were definitely some contracts that came forward that actually weren't related to a human lifetime. It was a galactic lifetime connected to Orion. And so the other parties were Orion. And I felt called to go through this process of bringing this contract to completion in speaking light language to do it at the end. So I did use a little bit of English. I used some Orion light language that came forward. This has been in my field for the last few months, especially related to my trip to New Zealand. But that was really fascinating as well. So that's another way that we're using the light language as a benefit for ourselves. Now, I know that the topic today goes beyond just using it to benefit ourselves. The topic today is specifically around Galactic Ascension codes. And over the last several weeks, I've brought forward the idea of galactic templates. Galactic templates are structures or grids that hold frequencies that are needed for our ascension process, specifically as a collective. And I even felt that we weren't quite ready to fully receive these templates as a collective, although I have witnessed over the last few weeks an increase in people who were anchoring in galactic templates personally. I believe that that was priming or calibrating the greater collective for a holistic anchoring in of these galactic templates. Well, in order to fully calibrate us for these templates, it's natural that we need to have access to a greater or wider range of frequencies. And this is where the light language comes in. In the Light Language Quantum Leap course that I did in September, a lot of people who were already speaking light language had new languages activated, and many of those languages were galactic. And I believe that I can pretty confidently say this. I mean, I hear feedback around it and I witness it, but my role at this, especially at this moment in time, is supporting people through expanding their multidimensional awareness and their cosmic remembrance and helping them connect to their star families and their star origins. And sometimes that becomes interesting because we start to and really lean into that, and we forget other parts of our ascension journey. So I want you to know that cosmic remembrance is one element of your ascension journey. And if there isn't anything you've heard me say over the last few months, it's probably that we need balance, right? You've heard me say that over and over again with the pyramid of ascension. We need balance, balance, balance. And so exploring those cosmic connections at the same time we're exploring more inner work or inner exploration. I don't know that you can explore inner exploration, but you get the picture. Sometimes light language is easier to use. English is like, oh, but there is an element of our ascension path that involves reconnecting to our galactic families. And the connection is difficult to make when we're not calibrated fully. And these ascension codes, these spoken light languages, whether you're hearing them, listening to them, or you're speaking them, are really what's going to prepare us for this reconnection with our galactic roots. One way that my guides were showing me this was they were talking about building out our family tree. Now you understand the concept of a family tree where you write down your genealogy, your mother, your father, your mother's father, your mother's father's father, it's all of this, connection that we have, and we can go back far. And there are people in the world who do this for a living. They are connecting family lineages. And so what I was shown was how the biggest disconnect we have, let me put it this way. I don't want to say the biggest, but one of the biggest disconnects we have right now, going back to the November theme of reconnection, is a disconnect from our galactic roots. And as we are all on this journey to reconnect back to our original, basically, source, our origins, our creator, creatrix, there's a pathway that walks right through our galactic origins as well. And we are building back out that family tree. Because sometimes I've asked my guides, I'm like, well, I don't want exploring our cosmic origins, our galactic roots to become a distraction from other things that are important. And they said, well, you have to remember, everything is reconnected. You can't reconnect in one area and not reconnect in another. You'll feel off kilter. And so, you want to explore within yourself all of your inner standing there, but you also want to remember to explore outside yourself, your multidimensional aspects, your galactic aspects, your galactic family, those beings who essentially had a hand in seeding the human race on the planet Earth. Because there was a reason that it happened the way it did. And there are certain stars and certain star families that you are very connected to. And as you come to understand those origins, you are absolutely going to understand more about your original template, beyond just your galactic template, your literal original soul template. And that's where we're really all headed, because that's where the essence of unity consciousness lies. And so these galactic ascension codes that are coming forward right now are 100% part of the calibration to facilitate the reconnection to our galactic origins. And this can look like many, 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 many different things. There has been an interesting influx of different kinds of guides showing up for people on a more regular basis. And I've noticed a lot of tall beings coming forward. And I've felt these were predominantly Arcturian and Pleiadian. Some of you know, like the Avatar movie and the beings, those Avatar beings that are very tall. This is actual accurate, pretty accurate reflection of what's out there. And I feel a lot of Pleiadian and Lyran energy from that. Some of you might have been having dreams, guides appearing, and they're not going to take a fire hose and just open everything up for you all at once. They're going to come little by little. So when they come, just take notes. Sometimes there's nothing you need to do, because I have people ask me, well, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Well, they're not going to come in full force. or with their full messages or frequencies, because if you're not physically calibrated to that, then it will be very uncomfortable for you. And this is where, again, those galactic ascension codes come in. So whether you're speaking it, or you are wanting to speak it, or you are listening to it, and listening to it is a doorway to speaking it, I will say. Or maybe, again, your thing is hand, light language, or drawing. That's all part of it. The intention of these new galactic codes that you are going to speak or hear others speak is to calibrate and prepare the soil, which takes us back to October, preparing for the galactic templates. We're still in a preparation mode collectively. The byproduct of this is that some of you are already having this happen. As I mentioned in these one-on-one sessions that I've had over the last little while, this is what's happening. In fact, I am just about to close out the October-November one-on-one opportunities and take a small break. So if you are interested in exploring some of what I'm talking about with you one-on-one, you can click on the link below and jump into a session to really dive deeper. There is something percolating right now too, as far as a one-on-one offering that hasn't been born yet. And that's not ready for us until December. But yeah, we're still on the cusp of so much remembrance that's just going to come through. But we're calibrating. We want to be comfortable for this. And again, one of the ways that I personally am supporting this is through our Light Language Group Mentorship and our Light Language Quantum Leap, which is two different courses, cohorts that I'm offering here in November. And they start in just about a week. So if you are called to find out more about that, all the links are in the show notes. And I would love to be there with you. Maybe it's time for you. These are not things that I offer on a consistent basis. It's really like tuning into the energy of the season and phase we're in as a collective. And it was very loud and clear that we needed to really emphasize light language right now in November. And I feel a big preparation coming, and it's really going to be special because these two cohorts will be going through the 1111 portal during the time they're with me. So we get to really integrate all those beautiful 1111 portal energies, which I'm thrilled about. I was just talking about this in my community, how the theme that came forward was this violet flame energy. And so I feel like people going, oh my gosh, not another portal. It's going to be crazy. It's like, no, I don't feel like it's going to be that way. I feel like it's going to be a beautiful transmutation of whatever is needing to be transmuted. And my experience with it and the violet flame energy, as I've tuned into what's coming in for the 1111 portal, just feels sort of soothing and like a relief. So if you're up for that, that's what I would set the intention to do for the 1111 portal. And if you want to join me, I have an incredible offering that I am co-creating with a group of starseeds in the Czech Republic. And my friend Aramea is there, and she is an incredible light worker that is spreading all kinds of galactic frequencies through what she does. And we are co-creating this offering, again, this 1111 portal activation. You can find out more below. But shifting into the light language piece here, I did promise you that I was going to tune into some galactic frequencies, and we'll give you a little buffet smorgasbord of galactic frequencies today. You can see as you're listening to them side by side if one stands out beyond another, and that might be an invitation for you to connect with that particular galactic frequency. So taking a deep breath, and you might listen to this a couple of times. We're going to start with Venusian. Big deep breath. Shifting now, and I'm doing this in a specific order that I'm feeling called to do for you. So for the next one, Polarian. Yat kat mot yat mul dat nudirik dat umbrikt loloyan tito inamat yatia. Deep breath. Pleiadian. Yish nanai doko minala etoko yanakiaya. Ariatoko siana yetolo yamayata. Agdia sumnolai yashatoko inamadik tiaya. Deep breath. Lyran. Agariana sukoriani moraiti. Agariana kosomoria oriorati. Agaria mungareina karayung oroinia to koraimus somoroyati. Switching gears again. Pausing if you need to. Orion. Aktokum makt aktok tatal mokakt. Adiktaktok na marakal oyattok maraktaki okuyanaktai. Yirak nung kadak tisumbagt at Korean noktai. Kiasa. Beautiful. Just tuning in for a moment. Right now, the avian wants to come in, and I will say the avian is interesting. It's really come into my awareness that avian can be hybrid with any star family, and they exist beyond time and space. And speaking of a light language that exists beyond time and space, dragon also does that for me. The word dragon is really not the most aligned word because dragon comes from Draco, and there are beings that are connected to that energy on Draco, but it's not the same as the dragon concept that I have, which is like a primordial essence that's very close and similar to angelic. So I tend to connect him with more the seraphim frequency, but they would like to come forward. So you can see the dragon energy spans across all of creation. And if you haven't already taken a look at Diana Cooper's dragon deck, she helps you understand that because there are dragons from different star systems in there. So she has like the Pleiadian dragons, the Andromedan dragons, the Lyran dragons. So you can see that that frequency coexists with other stars, but they're really beyond being attached to a specific location. So here is some dragon light language for you. Seraphim light language. Amor genakish zuko imgarkes kindari nakush. Amianui. Karin Goya. That one felt very much connected to Sophia, divine feminine energy. And shifting into a couple more of our galactic frequencies. The stars in our galaxy, the constellations in our galaxy. Right now I feel Sirius. The Syrian energy here. So settling the body if you feel drawn to fully receive. Big deep breath. That one also came in very sing-songy. As you noticed. The final one today is going to be Arcturian. And while they are in the higher frequencies, predominantly telepathic, I will call in some of the like 5th and 6th density Arcturian, maybe 7th. Another big deep breath. And doing whatever vocalizing you feel drawn to do. Maybe some of this light language activated your vocal cords. And just let it flow. Just let your inner child speak. One thing that I've noticed is the increasing amount of galactic template work that comes through in my one-on-one sessions in person in Los Angeles. There are things that I can do in that space that are things that I guess pretty much I can't do over Zoom, even though Zoom has its pros and cons as well. There are things I can do virtually that are different than things I can do in person, but we bring through new frequencies. A lot of people experience new frequencies, and I channel new frequencies when I am doing a session in those one-on-one individual moments. But it really is a learning for me as I work with all of you who come into these containers. And it's been interesting to see my own contracts evolve, what it is I'm called to do for the collective, and how I can be of service to the collective. It's been really, really fascinating and such an honor. There hasn't been a day go by when I do one-on-one sessions and I am not shown the importance of each and every person that I come across as far as what frequencies they're holding, the way that they're serving the collective and Gaia in conscious and unconscious ways. It's honestly very humbling, very, very humbling, because when I am tuning in and stepping into their Akashic records with them, for instance, every single person has a task or a duty or a purpose or a service that is just as important as mine and just as important as anybody else's. And if there hasn't been something that's come through more potently than that, it's got to be that. It's got to be the absolute specialness, uniqueness of every single one of you. And let's just take a moment to close out this podcast with intentional mindfulness around your personal journey with some of this information. Just feel into whatever openings were created for you through things I might have said, things that dropped into your own channel while I was speaking in the background, as well as any light language that came forward and really spoke to you. Either my light language or your response. Maybe you had light language come in. And just releasing any programming of overwhelm right now. Just really being present and honoring this moment of co-creation. And I just want to let you know I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for your presence on this planet. I am sending you so much love. I would be honored to co-create with you through our light language offerings this month. I would be honored to co-create with you in our community. They're very special places for me. where I feel like all of us are able to really express ourselves authentically in ways we can't always do in our regular everyday lives. So that is unique. And again, such an honor. Closing out this podcast with my favorite phrase, I am you and you are me, and we are we. Until next time.